I'm laying here. And stigmas around. He's a very busy man. So you can see. You'll find him over there in that corner. A lot of his time when he's home. If not at the table eating. Or in the shower. Or in bed when you gotta sleep or do any other things here. And I'm here. This was the final destination. The fantastic destination I was talking about. It's really late.
Say that again?
I'm gonna wake up early.
Manchurian.
I'm glad I got my videos on the computer. And that's what's gonna happen. I mean, there are some people that like you, and there are some people that don't. There are some people that like the things you do, and there are some people that don't like the things you do. And then with that said,
you know what? It sounds very familiar.
It is.
It sounds very
Would
familiar.
it be? One can either grow from that, or one can just dwell in that. You know, it's very sad when one dwells in it for days. You should just grow from it and decide what they want to do. Apologies are like overrated at this point. I mean, it's good to apologize when you feel that you did something wrong, but I mean, don't apologize for something that you don't even feel like you're wrong about, because now you're just being fake to yourself. So, yeah, let's just be real. Let's be real with yourself.
A lot of people, propaganda went ahead and put him out there like he was.
I mean, some people. I mean, should just realize that.
I see different perceptions. I mean, I'm not saying.
I mean, one can say they see different perceptions, and then really only see one as their own, which seems to be right. I mean, but to each, everyone thinks their opinion and perception is right. When really, we should definitely look at the diversity in the world and really take a deeper insight into how they lived and how their lives were, rather than just signaling only one thing and just saying, oh, this is what it is, when really that person doesn't know, because that person doesn't live in your shoes. They only lived in their own. So, when one makes false interpretations and false perceptions about another person, I mean, it really puts themselves in a hole, and really just, it really doesn't put the person they're accusing in a hole, because obviously that person has their own right perception and their own views. So, about any given situation. Now, when one doesn't want to be open to anything or hear anything, I mean, maybe their ego may be like really prideful, and I mean, that may be the problem. I mean, when one's ego is full of pride, but I mean, in this world, especially with music and artists, I mean, it really becomes very competitive, because especially when one is an artist and another is an artist, whether it be in art, like painting, or whether it be in making music or beats or poetry or filmmaking. I mean, anything that really involves writing. I mean, it really is competitive. And it's really competitive when you're, in relationships, friendships with people that are in the same field especially in writing, which writing opens many doors, which is very essential to anyone's life. Writing, and it's very helpful to their lives. I mean, it's not surprising to see that one will be competitive or want to win over most of the conversations or dominate or I mean, when one just humbles themselves rather than like exalting themselves, I mean, then things can be solved more healthier. But when one really exalts himself to this higher power, feeling as though they can dominate another being, I mean, it really becomes unnatural, and it doesn't. It's not real. It's not real. It becomes more like hierarchy. And I mean, one that really speaks of those kind of things and then participates in them, I mean, it is what it is. So you just wanna take your own deep breath and move forward. You know what I'm saying? Just move forward because at the end of the day, we are for sure we have ourselves. We guaranteed our own life. Now, guaranteed a life with another is not 100%, because there's many obstacles and many challenges that are being made every single day, every minute. So, I mean, one can, be in a relationship. Booger, sorry. So, being in a relationship or a friendship with one that feels like, their opinion is rather more of importance or isn't willing to hear your opinion. I mean, that kind of relationship and friendship should just easily be dismissed. I mean, or even just taking a break from. I mean, sometimes it's necessary to just move away from that person and have them to see, like, really themselves. I mean, maybe they really need to evaluate themselves more rather than so much the other person or the relationship. So, I mean, we all experience our own obstacles and our challenges throughout everyday life, which strengthens us and builds us to be more better people. But when one is like stagnant and like the same constant, like, this is who I am and this is how I am and this is how I'm going to be for like every single day and not willing to take on the challenges and grow from them, I mean, that person really needs to just self-evaluate. And, I mean, it's psychological and philosophical as well as everything else because it all plays and it's all connected and it's all relevant to the mind, which, like I said in an earlier video, is very powerful. And we all know this. I mean, we all know. So, with that being, we can learn from them, grow from them, and keep moving forward. Reverse, because it is important to keep moving forward. Now, I make these videos because it's important that one knows knowledge and what's going on.
You know how to spell that?
So, I mean, we can just basically write about these things. We can read about them. We can experience them, or we can talk about them, or we can know. So, or even more things that are available to us. Now, when one just puts up this image, especially, I mean, that's another thing. When one puts an image up and is really not that person, I mean, those kind of people you want to be aware of because, I mean, one can say I am in love and one can say I appreciate you, and really their actions are contradictory to those things. And I mean, it seems as though the person that's it's being said to would be more hurt, but really that person is growing from that and realizing recognizing the kind of person she doesn't want to be with, because if that person doesn't have a balance with their words and again with their actions, really that means they're not connected to themselves or the light that is within. Really, they're just connected to more of the outside things and not so much what's inside.
Mysteries of the Unknown.
And they should
That's the name.
definitely,
That's the name. Mysteries of the Unknown.
One may get
Time and
lost
space.
in
Time-like
search of so
books.
many things, and it's understandable because reading so much, so many different articles, so many different books, so many different magazines, and then upon doing so many different things throughout the day, one can get lost in all of that
Talks about
knowledge and
Secrets of the Alchemist.
lose themselves. When in reality, they should be evaluating and study upon their self, as well as the things that relate to themselves, so that way they can become who they are every day, every minute.
Cosmic
You know,
Connections. Time-like books.
and one can just brag and boast, and when they do that, it's not really healthy for them either. They can just give off their energy to someone else, and anyone is willing to take energy and use it, and just like anyone is willing to use money and take money when it's being offered.
But it looks really good.
And
it's huge. It looks like
it's important when one person just finally just sits down and
fiction.
does what they say they're gonna do. Because one can say I'm gonna do this, and one's gonna say I'm gonna do that, and one can say I'm a man of my word. Really, when one says all this,
Archbishop Francis
they
Cardinal
really
Snowden, the American Empire's military Picard,
when one
commander of the
admits
American
to
tongue,
things,
the Knights of
then
Peter Grace Henry,
it's the person they admitted it
Buckley,
to
Junior John
really
Bone,
has like
James Hamilton with the case
the upper hand to see through
was secretly the
observation of
mastermind
the
behind the Kennedy
senses
assassination.
if this person is as
And
real
the
as
photo
they say
below
they
taken
are.
from John Clooney's
The
American Pope.
ones that are quiet
Spellman standing with
are the ones that are,
candidates.
sure
Kennedy
of
and
who they
Nixon
are and
at
are
the
not
1969
about to
Ferguson
just
Smith Memorial
publicly
dinner
say
at the
this
Woodrow
is
Astoria Hotel in New York City.
me
Spellman's
in
master propelled
adjectives or
Caesar
in
Pope Hop
different
Paul.
quotes or sayings.
I think that's a 6, was it? It's like a V and
I
one
hope
I forgot.
that we all learn now that,
Oversaw the
when one
conspiracy in
admits
obedience to the
to who
Black
they
Pope,
are, like, and say, oh,
controlling the
whatever they
international
want to say that
intelligence
they
community,
are.
the superior general of the Jesus.
You want to, throughout the time, see if they are what they say they are. And I'm sure many people have already experienced this in relationships and in friendships, one can say who they are and there's a balance with their actions, and then one will say who they are and there isn't a balance with their actions, then obviously those friendships and relationships don't ever work out. So, and then you just move forward from that, you just grow from it, and you be content that, you learn from it, and there's just many opportunities to look forward to, and much more challenging obstacles to overcome. Now, maybe one day, even one would say that they meditate, and then they really don't. When they say meditate, and then they never see them meditate, is that a person of their word, or is that a person that is really busy and doesn't have time to meditate? There's many ways to look at it. You have to really kind of look at all of the evidence. You can't just say. It's not as easy as just saying, okay, this person is not of their word, so I'm done with them. You really want to look at their situation, look at their background, especially if you really care about the person, or being, and we can see throughout the time that we have, because we have so much time, if a person is real. It's never okay to really let a person say to you so many flattering things, because one that flatters is really one that's just trying to like throw the hook and catch the fish. And really, like, one can say many positive, flattering things. I mean, and the person that's receiving that, I mean, is just being, built.
Like
I
what happened
mean,
to the Panama?
upon
What
like
happened to the president of the
confidence
family
rock.
when he signed the Panama
You
Canal
know,
Treaty?
still, I mean, if their intentions is to build the person's confidence, I mean, that's great. But if their intentions are not, and they have a, hidden agenda, which is always normally, you know, there's always more than one reason as to why one would say something, and because it always usually benefits one. I mean, normally when we like I say something, I mean, obviously it's because I'm doing it for one reason, because I love, but it's also beneficial to me as I'm doing that, because in that process I'm actually growing myself. So, and if I'm doing it for any other purpose that's not in connection with love, then you obviously know it's actually going to be detrimental to my health in over time. So, but I mean, one will find out if that person is of truth or not, because of that person's lifestyle, and really if that person is who they say they are. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. No, in a relationship, it's either being
Henry
built,
is the blockhead looking cat.
or if it's not being built, then you should just not be it. So if one doesn't have time to build with you, and yet you dedicate yourself to building, then you should definitely just kind of simmer down some and not try it so hard to build with that person, because if that person isn't willing to dedicate some time for building, in correlation with the time that you've dedicated, then you can just clearly evaluate that and realize that the next thing to do is to just spend more time with yourself, or spend more time with others that are willing to build with you and actually want to build with you. I mean, because there are so many people that I'm sure would want to build with a person that is of love, and people see a person of love. And then a person that isn't of love, I mean, of course, doesn't want to build with them. And I mean, that person is probably normally just busy doing other things that are just like self-seeking, and self-seeking only. And I mean, one can use an object, or a being, or a organization or a group to kind of like put them at the to kind of like use as like that's who they are, and that's what they're doing it for. Really, there's another hidden agenda beneath that. You want to be very careful with people that use like children as a way to be ahead of everyone, or be on top of people, and because one may not even realize that their intentions are really not of good, especially when they're saying they're doing it for this, when they should just really say, this is what I'm doing it and why I'm doing it, and it's related to this. I mean, it's very simple. I make these videos because I know that in the future I'm going to have my children, and I would love for my children to see this. And anyone that is interested in hearing me speak is welcome to hear me speak. One wants to learn from what I'm speaking, one can. And if one wants to make their own video, it's very simple. So, I mean, any camera, whether it be on a phone or on a computer, with a video record is sufficient for these kind of videos. And, I see my future ahead, and it's because I can imagine it and create it through my imagination. Now, sometimes when we do that and then we share our imagination with others, it might not be as a good idea because when that happens, all one will try to do, if not help, is to kind of like take it away and not let it happen. And if one is not willing to support your 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 imagination, like your future, I mean, and you just kind of just want to disconnect from them or not tell them anymore your business because it really becomes your business. I mean, it's the business of your own imagination that you've created. It's really something that you're the entrepreneur of the business. You're the author of the book. You are the creator of the creation in your mind, and if you come into effect. And for instance, if you want to do something great, really think about it and really focus on your actions and have your actions be in connection to that. Now, if it's not in correlation with that, then anything you're doing is really like, not of the what you see. It's gonna be rather it be connecting to your your dreams or your imagination of your future. It's actually just outside of that. And I mean, if you're really set upon your imagination and your creation that you want to look forward to, I mean, you really don't want to have any outside forces or factors influence or even take you away from that. You want to keep going forward in your dreams because it's not okay to allow one to take away from you. Especially when you already have all within. And I'm glad that I can go ahead and make these videos. This is a very long one. We'll have to cut this in half. Just look ahead, look forward, and don't let people that are too busy or too occupied drain the space that you share with others, or clog up the air of oxygen that we share and breathe. I mean, you want to just kind of let that person that you obviously have evaluated and observed over some time, just really let them live. Basically, just let them live and don't really tell them what it is or what to do because they're gonna find out on their way, and over time they will see in their own path, in their own life, their own ways. Very simple. So, I mean, we're not anyone to tell the next person how to live and what to do and how to speak, rather than we can just be the example of how to live, how to speak, and how to live. And either we can just do that, or we can just talk about or write about it. We can write about it, and that's great because we can actually benefit from that in the future. Or we can talk about it in a very manner that is being spoken. Because you definitely don't want to use names or name calling. You just want to use the experience and yourself as an example of that experience. And recreate the experience in a positive light.
Actually, what's interesting is that Don Juan went ahead and like supposedly he propaganda states that he had a
I
cult,
hope
and
we
he ended up
learned.
like telling people that
I
they
know
were
we
all in
did.
space,
I
somewhere in
know we
space,
all
and
did learn something.
they ended up
Every
dying
day we
or
learn
like
anything.
committing suicide.
And we observe
But
many
his book,
things. And
his book
um,
is based upon this shaman
but
that he
when we
met
start to think things are not going to
in
work out,
Arizona, if I'm not mistaken,
that's exactly what
or
happens.
Nevada or something.
Just want to point that out.
And
The
the
second we
shaman
start
reveals
to
a lot of
imagine
secrets.
things not working, and the second we
Alright?
start to believe
Okay.
things are not
Damn.
gonna work, is the same second that is being manifested to not work. So very simple to understand. Because one can be in a positive light and really focus on the positive things and build on that, or one can be of the negative light and focus on the negativeness that's gonna break the relationship. And to each, they have their own patience and tolerance. I mean, one each has their own tolerance level, and you know, from my experiences, my tolerance is
Right.
just enough. Put it that way. And there comes a time where I really just, I wipe my hands after a while if things don't seem to turn around, you know, or that person hasn't like learned over such a period of time. I kind of just, I'll wipe my hands and stop observing them. I'll just kind of just like wipe my hands, kind of throw in, throw in the charcoal in the fire and kind of just, let it burn. So, you know, um, when you can't help somebody, you can just, we can help. We can always
Based in
help.
San Diego, California.
So it's not so you can't, because we can. But, when we start to imagining great things, and it's important that we not fool ourselves into believing great things can happen with a being that doesn't believe in great things. You see, now one can say they believe in great things, but their words and their actions truly show they are not believing in great things. They actually believe in the opposite of that. And when they're in the opposite of the great things they believe, we can just move forward. It's important to just move ahead in your life, and not ahead of somebody else, but just ahead of yourself, and it's important. I spoke, and I hope we all understand. It's important. So important.
Here we go.
You
All 39 were dressed in identical
we're not
black shirts and
victims of our
sweatpants.
past,
brand new black and white
but we
Nike
are
decade athletic shoes.
survivors of every day.
And armband patches reading
Every single day. Every minute.
Away team.
And our heart beats. And our heart beats because
Star Trek fictional universe, and
one wants it to be. So let's be an observant of what's going on. If you're observant, it's a very, very great skill, and it can always be more strengthened and more
He
like
was found without bags over their heads.
precise.
But they had
And
bags over their heads. Oh, because they
I mean, that
suffocated
only
themselves.
happens when your eyes are open, right? When you're awake
Among the dead was
and you
Thomas
peep
Nichols'
what's
brother,
going on.
Michelle Nichols, who was best known for
Now,
the role as Uhura in the original Star
one who
Trek
cares
television
about a
series. Wow,
relationship
that's ironic.
will take the time to talk to you about it.
Only one of the group
And
members,
here,
Neil D'Angelo
it could either
Richardson, did not
be
kill himself.
it's a either
He said, "Fuck these
a
niggas. I'm not
relationship
dead."
consists of two people or
He did not
more.
kill himself because before the suicide from the Cybernetic
Now,
Lazy, D'Angelo agreed with Aqua so he
when
could
the
do it so he could
person,
share future
when the relationship
visitation of heaven.
becomes
David is a
not a
future.
relationship,
Oh, that's a great scapegoat.
which is obvious
He
once one
videotaped the
doesn't
mansion
want
in
to hear
Rancho Santa Fe in her
the
life.
other
However,
person's
the tape was not shown
opinion.
to police until
I mean,
5
when
years
one
after
just
the event.
singles
This massive
out
Heaven's Gate group was later
like
publicized in the media as
his
being
own
backed by Nichols
opinion and
himself.
then just
Two
omits
former members
the
of
other
Wednesday,
person's
Wayne
opinion,
Cook and Charlie Humphreys,
that person
later
does not
committed
want to be in a
suicide and recently
relationship.
ran into the group.
That person wants to
Humphreys
be in
has
a
survived a
relationship with
suicide pact with
themselves.
Cook in mid
And so time
1997, who
is
also committed
necessary
suicide.
to
What the fuck?
just
He
give
survived his own
them
suicide?
back
How the fuck?
what they want, and clearly it's just to be with themselves. One can say they're
That's
ready to be
crazy.
in a relationship
It's interesting. It's
and
interesting because
ready to
people,
have a relationship,
it's different
and
perceptions,
truly
you know what I mean?
the person just
Different
wants
perceptions.
some affection and for the moment. And once they receive that affection and that attention, I mean, they get it and they want to just kind of just
Yeah,
dominate.
mines don't
And
do that. Mines don't believe in
you
shit
know,
like that. Mines don't believe in
it's
fear.
great to just make a decision. Make a choice
I don't know
what
if
you
you
want to
saw
do. You
this
could
this
continue to be in a
Mayan
relationship that is
short documentary. He was talking about
going to
he said it in Spanish. He was like,
be
don't believe these Europeans who don't even
helpful, or
understand Mayan
be in a
scriptures. And it's the
relationship
same thing
that's
I said,
going
yo.
to be,
It's the same thing I said. I remember I told a couple people before that they
you
would
know,
ask me, oh, because they would be like, oh, so what's your people name? And I was like, oh, Mayan rock. Or this and that. They're like, oh, so do you
unpredictable.
believe
I
that?
mean,
I always get that.
unpredictable relationships in the
They're
sense
like, oh,
that
you're from that region.
their behaviors are just
Whatever. I'm like, yo,
unpredictable.
don't believe people who
Um, just
European
don't even
who not
be
from
in a
that region.
relationship with them.
Don't
Just
understand,
don't.
the
Just don't.
inheritance of that
Because
knowledge and don't understand that.
you
Don't
just kind of
understand
just leave them.
something that
Just leave them. And if
comes
they
with the
want to
energy
come
of
to
that
you,
area. That
then,
energy won't leave there because it's meant
they
to be there.
can. And if
The
not,
people
then,
who have inherited that will
there's so
understand
many
it more
people
than anybody else.
that are willing to be with you or be in a relationship with you or have one with you.
Yeah.
Never feel insecure or overconfident, because when you feel overconfident, just realize that you're gonna be secure or lonely for a long time because people don't like that. And I mean, one that does like it,
That's
isn't
that like a
maybe
that's
they have
reptilian?
another agenda under that. You might want to look into that.
Reptilians.
And
It was
one
funny,
that
yo. I was like,
is insecure.
I was by Ricochet,
One
by the
has
Target,
an agenda being with an
by
insecure
Biscayne,
person,
like
because
36 or
it
30
gives
or
them
something
that
like that.
higher
And
person,
these
that
cats, yo,
higher power to be
were
in
like taking
control of
forever.
that being,
Some crackers, yo.
which
And I
is
was just
not
like, I'm
okay
like, come on, reptilians,
in
move it
in
along.
the essence of
And
a
they looked at me
positive,
like, mad, like, oh
growing
shit,
relationship.
like they were like surprised that I said that.
Now, I want to emphasize
I'm
on the
serious, yo.
fact that
Their
one
expression was
who,
like
instead of
they were
helps the
gasping and
community,
they were like
they
gazing at me.
just like
I'm like, move it along, reptilians, and they were just like,
one person is just one person needs to really evaluate themselves before they judge others, because when one person judges another human being, knowing that they have many flaws, especially, I mean, others will not be honest with them and tell them, and then there's always going to be someone that does tell them, and that someone that does tell them, they either listen to that person or they don't, and they'll either listen to that person because that's a person that they know obviously cares for them, or they won't listen to that person because they feel like, oh, no one has said it, so obviously they're just saying that. I mean, it's really up to that person to take it into consideration that when one is saying something very true about, through observation, of course, and study, they want to really take in consideration those facts, and it becomes facts when different actions, different experiences that one could say those things. No, definitely don't just draw out a conclusion and draw a judgment upon one experience, one observation, because obviously that's not, you know, that's just not enough. You can just one day observe one thing and then throw out a judgment. I mean, that's just like, or a conclusion. It's not effective. It's just not an effective draw, you know. So it really puts themselves in a really predicament with that person that they drew upon the judgment or conclusion. So you wanna, before you just go ahead and like start, you know, saying things about someone else, you wanna make sure that you know who you are and definitely know that you observe that person, you know, and their behavior over a period in different experiences, different environment. You know, like this person was in this location, this person was in this location, this location, this location, and their actions showed in each of these locations these behaviors that were the same behavior, and you can then draw upon from, you know, that and say, okay, but drawing upon like one behavior from one experience, I mean, if it's happening in the same experience over and over, like the same location over and over, clearly that location, that person that's having those behavior conclusions being observed, they just shouldn't be in that location. That's simple. Because if it only happens in that location and not in any other location, that means the location that they're in is not healthy for them. And it's not so much the person, it's just the location they're in and who they are with or surrounding themselves with.
Yeah, I'm looking at
now, if it's happening in a different location around different people, then maybe that's the behavior of that person. And that person may be aware of it or may not be aware of it. And you know, it's very simple to, you know, observe. You know, and the only reason why to observe is to just the only reason to observe is because you can. And I mean, or you just,
know, like, it's important to like.
whatever.
That's why I think martial arts, breaking, and all that helps with spirituality because we can tap into it and then like leave it. You know what I mean? Like, for example, when we do chisa,
notice into that.
you know, we can just tap out of it. We're like we're controlling that reptilian part of the brain, which is very spiritual more than anything.
So you can see I didn't move out
As well as
that area over there.
You understand?
Busy.
No
And I mean,
if you notice,
some people are busy doing other things. It's 11:19.
Like,
And I feel as though I feel sad for people that talk about others because it just shows how shallow that person can be, and instead of just, you know, like I said earlier, looking upon their self, you know, it really sucks. And
especially when I told him that I didn't show him everything that I know from
I'm really gonna just take this and let this video be done. Don't waste your time on somebody who doesn't give their time to you. Especially if you give their time value in your life. If you are someone that really loves and really cares about people and really, you know, can see that people can change, you really just want to you know, just, you know,
That means that he's like a little older as well. You know what I mean?
see that they can change, but it's not going to be on your time. It's going to be on their time. And on their time, maybe a long time in your time. And, or it can be sooner. So, but don't let one just apologize just for the sake of the moment. So, you know, with that being spoken, I'm going to leave this video to be interpreted by you in however way you want to be interpreted by whatever you want to take from it. You can take and very simply just learn, live, and enjoy.